Elin Jewel, shaken all over. Nice. More music still to come this morning. Yesterday we spoke with the National Retailers Association about Sunday trading in Moranbah. Now it's time to get the other side of the coin with the Retailers Association. Scott Driscoll, the National Executive Director of the Retailers Association, joins me on the phone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Were you surprised by the announcement that it had been approved with 7-day trading in Moranbah late last week?
Look, I wouldn't say I was surprised. We actually didn't play an active role in that particular case. Our members in that particular region are very limited, and I think the mistake would be to make any sort of correlation or take a parallel to any other case, because these things are always, and there are many of them around the state each year, are always looked at on their merits in their particular areas, and there's no sort of follow-on effect or flow-on effect, if you like, from one to another. So in looking at the Mackay case upcoming, I think we would need to see that as a standalone entity, as it truly is.
You mentioned that your numbers in Moranbah weren't big enough for you to take a big role. So do people have to be a part of your association to actually benefit from being able to stand up and speak out?
No, they don't. They're perfectly entitled to make application individually as a business, but this is a very costly process, and the applicants well know that. And I think the tactic that's being used at the moment, in fact, is to outspend and outpunch the smaller independent retailers around various communities around Queensland. And certainly, we need to be selective about the cases that we take up in a proactive way, because it's members' money that we're dealing with, as opposed to the big donations from Coles and Woolworths and the shopping centres that the applicants are able to enjoy.
Now, one of the issues in Moranbah that they used to get that approved was the fact that a lot of the people out there are shift workers, and it was a convenience thing for Sunday trading. Do you see that applicable here in Mackay, and do you think that'll be used this time round in October?
Well, it was part of the argument that didn't stack up last time when the applicants lost this same application. Now, I don't think that there's going to be terribly much new evidence at all that can be put before the Commission to get a different result. We've got to remember this case has already been run and won on its merits. Now, it was opposed, or the outcome was opposed on a sheer technicality by the applicant, and unfortunately in cases of law where technicalities or breaches of process are alleged to have occurred, and that's shown to be the case, the whole thing falls apart and you've got to start again. And that's purely what we're dealing with here. The arguments haven't changed, and I don't believe the outcomes will change, because essentially I don't really believe that from the council to the community to the independent retailers right across the board in Mackay, I don't think the opinions change, so this is not good for Mackay.
What do you say to people who believe that Mackay will not grow if there's not a change in the type of trading we're doing here?
Well, I just think that's absolute nonsense, and that's an argument that is clearly being promoted by the hype and the propaganda machine of Coles and Woolworths. I mean, let's get this very clear. These applications, in particular in the case of Mackay, this is all about extending the market grasp and the market domination of Coles, Woolworths and the other major retailers. Now, in Queensland, we're seeing these applications coming about where there are even development applications by Coles and Woolworths. This is just part of their machine that rolls on. We have in Mackay 7-day trading. We have many retailers in Mackay who already trade across Sundays and the other days of the week. They're just simply falling into a category that aren't alike to Coles and Woolworths. So, I mean, you've got food retailers, you've got electrical retailers and hardware retailers and many others that can already trade 7 days. This is about non-exempt retailers, i.e. Coles and Woolworths, simply trying to steal more of the pie and send those profits back down to Sydney and Melbourne.
Well, yesterday it was stated by Gary Black from the National Retailers Association that the main objector was the council, and that there wasn't a lot of noise being created apart from that.
Well, Gary would say that because he's being funded by Coles and Woolworths to run that argument.
So the whole thing is funded by either side of the table, which is what you were explaining before.
Well, the applications, which are, and the applicants, they're the people that dictate how many of these we've got on the books at any one time across the year. they're very clearly funded by the big duopoly of Coles and Woolworths, and also the shopping centres, who obviously want more lease, more rent from their tenants, and that's about extending the trading hours and doing what the big end of town wants. So, you know, where I suppose the small fish in all of this, we fight well above our weight on behalf of independent retailers in their various communities to basically make sure that the voice is heard, that where we've got the ability to fund the case, and we've done that in Mackay, and we'll do it again in Mackay, because we do have a good concentration of members there who want this to be highlighted as the farce that this application is. So, you know, we will be very active in the Mackay case and running the same arguments that were successful last time, and hopefully the Commission, and it was the Commission, doesn't trip itself up on a process issue that can be open to dispute thereafter.
You mentioned before it's an expensive exercise. Since the rehearing was announced for October, have you received further support from any areas?
Oh, yes, we have. Yes, no, it's something that Mackay businesses, and in fact many consumers in Mackay, are very passionate about. I think most people around the country are starting to wake up to the fact that this very unhealthy duopoly of Coles and Woolworths that controls 80% of the supermarket spend in Australia and delivers the highest rate of food inflation in the entire Western world is not something we want to further propagate. And I think a lot of people are saying enough's enough. We know we've got the option already in Mackay to shop on Sunday. We've got a plethora of stores and retailers that are open if we want to shop on Sunday. But we don't mind at all if Coles and Woolworths are kept a little bit at bay, because once those independent retailers are gone and destroyed, there goes your competition, there goes your downward pressure on any pricing whatsoever. And those local consumers, at the end of the day, if that local competition, those independents are gone, they will simply be paying more through the neck to Coles and Woolworths, because there will be no competition left.
Do you think that's the idea, it's been said for years that the independent retailers are really on the way out and that small business is a dying, breed?
Oh, I don't think small business is a dying breed. I think it's a threatened species, but small business people are pretty resilient, and in areas like Mackay, they've had to be resilient for a very long time, and they'll hang in there. But what we need to do is support them. The council supported them as well. The council, in this case, in Mackay, has shown great leadership. It's shown that it's in touch with the community. It understands, in its opposition to this application, that the community deserves choice. The community deserves to have a vibrant and viable independent retail sector, and that is what this is going to be about. And that's what the case was about last time, and it was won on its merits.
Given that it's an expensive exercise and it's coming back again, can you continue to keep this fight going if it spills over any further than October this year?
We'll have to. We'll simply have to, and that's what we'll be saying to the Mackay retail people, that, if you want to actually do this and you want us to stand up and win this again for you against the might of Coles and Woolworths and the big end of town, you've got to reinvest in your business and you've got to help us. So, I think we'll get good support there, and so far so good.
Scott Driscoll, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Pleasure, thanks.
Scott Driscoll, the National Executive Director of the Retailers Association, showing us the other side of the coin with small business and the support in Mackay as opposed to Moranbah for 7-day trading. We'll keep you updated on that, and of course the rehearing will happen in October at a date yet to be disclosed. Coming up, news at 9, and then after that we are going to have a look at Meals on Wheels and the assistance they've received. Is it enough to service their needs? Many other stories still to come this morning on ABC Tropical North. You're with Kim Clyden.